So this is a devlog night number 1. I'm gonna try and finish at least a prototype of this game. I'm working on cleaning up the comments right now for the first version of the game, which has the controls. It's got the start thing, which is where the player is gonna start. It's a cool name. For something really stupid. I implemented the winning state, and then the game reset state, and I introduced a ouch tile, as I call it, because if you step on it 3 times, well, you lose, and you have to restart. Like a dingus. I hope I get something cool out of this by the end of the weekend. So yeah, hopefully this goes well. I want to commit to this. I'm about to go to bed. It's 4:47 in the morning. Yeah, I hope I get done more tomorrow. Good night. This is day 2 of the development log thing that I'm doing over the weekend. And just trying to see how much I can get done before I have to go back to work. I implemented a health bar. I figured out how to have the player start in a specific spot every time, and that's by setting the position to the start tile whenever the layout starts. I implemented a key system, a key and door system, so like whenever the player goes over the key tile, they can then go to the lock tile and they can open the door. And they can get to the green tile, which is the winning tile, but you can also go into the red tile, which has an improved game over functionality now. You can it will actually make you stop and flash before you restart, before the layout restarts. I improved the graphics a little bit in the background, and I added a wall functionality, which was actually really easy to implement due to Construct 3's really simple behavior system that they have. I just put the solid behavior on there, and wham, I had a wall. I had a freaking wall, man, and it works, and it's good. The only problems that I ran into today were I wanted the blue tile to spawn the player into the map, you know, like it would put it into the map, but because the player tile wasn't there, I was a little stumped by it at first. I was like, why isn't the thing working anymore? And it was because I had the blue tile spawning in the player, and due to the player being so contingent to like the variables and stuff that I have set up right here, it just simply wouldn't work. So I had to I got the idea from a tutorial that I looked up on YouTube, to let the player tile exist outside of the layout and get set and have its position set to the blue tile right there. Let's see, what else I did. I pretty much just improved everything. I didn't really do much of anything. Oh, I added a health bar, if I haven't mentioned that already. That shows you how many hits you can take before you die, and the game restarts. And yeah, that's it for like the daytime portion. I'm sure I'm going to go back to it at night, so I'll probably record another one of these like at 4 in the morning whenever I decide to go to bed, honestly. But I think the next thing that I'm going to be working on is working on the timer function, because of the premise of the game is that you're a guy, you're trying to get to the block, and it's a puzzle game. It's not really a really complicated puzzle game, but it has light elements of time travel. The premise is that, basically. And it's, yeah, I'm not going to get into it right now. But anyway, I think the next thing that I'm going to work on is the timer. That'll reset you back at the start tile whenever it runs out, and then it'll refill, and then the layout will restart. Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm gonna do, and then I'm gonna work on tightening up the graphics. I may end up going with a 1-bit style because I don't think I can afford to exacerbate myself over really detailed sprite artwork because I'm not really all that great at it. So I'm gonna stick to a 1-bit style. Maybe I'll look up how to add sounds and stuff because I got plenty of room for sounds. And anyway, oh yeah, also, I found out how to make the health bar from a really good tutorial on YouTube as well, if you were curious. But, yeah, that's it for the day 2. I'm really pleased with the product because it actually is coming together how I've envisioned it in my head, which is neat. Okay, bye. Do you like it, Aiden? Hello, this is part 3 of my little game dev deal. Quick update, it's 4:28 in the morning at night. I have made a timer, I've made a power-up gauge to gauge when the power-ups will run out. It starts filled, but it empties out once you collect a power-up and fills back up with the corresponding color that the power-up has. I had to edit and tweak a lot of things in order to get the time function gameplay mechanic into this. Like especially setting the time event and the time, not the time event, like the time variable itself has become very important to pretty much everything that has to do with this game. It turns out that letting the ouch tile do the same thing as the win tile when you lose, but instead of winning it you lose, is a little too complicated. I haven't been able to figure that out quite yet, how to make it sort of respond in the same way that the player does when you get onto the finish tile, you know. Because the idea is that I want it to stop, flash, the time stops, and then the game restarts. I think now that I'm getting like power-ups and stuff involved with the thing, I should probably try and design like an actual puzzle or two, now that I have a sort of tile-based editing system that I can use to make and prototype different types of puzzles. Now, what I would like to do, but is not necessarily vital, would be like adding a teleporter sort of portal type deal, like how Portal did. Maybe add some sound effects, maybe add some music, edit the graphics almost certainly because I have to. Like it looks fine. It's a prototype, you know, like this is what it's supposed to look like before you add anything final to the game itself. Aside from that, I don't think I added much of anything else. I'm going to put some notes onto the actual structure of the event sheet itself, like how I did with everything else, just so that I'm keeping tabs of what my thought process is throughout this entire project. And plus it is helpful for me to come back tomorrow and look at the actual comments and stuff and be like, that's what that's used for, you know. Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad that I have a pretty clear idea as to where this is going. I could probably prototype some more power-ups into this, like maybe a pause function, and maybe like, well, I already got the time dilation in there. It's the slow-mo crystal. It decreases the rate of which the time decreases by I think a half. It multiplies the time passed by 2. The time passed variable that I have set up here. The time rate is 1, just by default. And then the time rate is set to time rate by 1.5, and that slows the time itself down, the timer that's going down, and then it starts a timer on the object of the player for 2 seconds, and then it significantly slows down the time for a little bit, so you get like an additional 1.5 seconds tacked onto your timer, you know? And it's all pretty aesthetically appealing so far. I'm sure once I have a clearer idea for what the HUD is going to look like and what the actual environment is going to look like as well, I have a feeling that I'm going to that it'll be good. I'm happy. I'm very happy about this. Here's to tomorrow. Good night. This is Devlog number 4, I think, now. I think I'm done with the game. I'll tell you what I've added. I've basically tweaked all of the graphics. I even animated some. I added a dummy system to the HUD. I added a HUD, first of all, and I made the HUD look a lot better. I even added a magic bar instead of having it look like 2 balls still. It's more of a solid prototype now. It's very flimsy. Like you can hypothetically you could go to the slow power up to the fast power up, and they would basically both cancel each other out or something. Like I kind of want to figure that out, just to troubleshoot that, because I know that would be something that I would do, and I figured it out, so I'm probably going to aim to fix it. I made it more into a puzzle thing. I made it look more like a dungeon. I think when I come back from watching wrestling, I'm going to add a few finishing touches, like some sound effects and a music and a song or something. I'm really stuffy. Maybe add like an indicator for holding a key or something, because that seems useful. And maybe make the camera follow the guy, just to make it more dynamic, just to start at one side of the screen and then pan to the other side of the screen as the player gets closer to the furthest side of the map. That would be an ideal thing to implement, but I only have, how many events do I have left? I only have 10 events remaining before I run out of space, and I have to pay. Even for a prototype, this is still pretty thick for the free version. And it looks pretty legit too. I like the way that it looks a lot. For 1-bit style, I think I nailed it pretty much, in terms of not stressing over like the shapes and stuff, except for that door. That door went through several different changes, and so did that key, before I landed on something that I wanted. Probably gonna add some dust effects to around the place to make it look more of like a dungeon-esque place. But yeah, as far as everything goes, I think this is a done deal. This is a successful project. Mild spoilers, I did not do all that I said I was going to do yesterday. Hello, this is Game Devlog number 5, and I think this is the final one. And I'm gonna add this on to the other 4th devlog video that I made. I tweaked the layout a little bit for the actual level itself. I made it a little more challenging. I added a random element to the placement of the power-ups that are on the screen. I think the footage that I have showing right now is when I didn't do that, but I can rest assure you that I did it. Kind of just a little post-mortem additional deal. Good thing that I stopped because, how many events? I have only one more event remaining before I run out, you know. And I'm gonna put the HUD group into the setup folder, because that's kind of separate from everything else. I think I'm gonna leave the key and door system and the slow-mo and fast-mo crystal just outside of the groups, because they're individual systems that don't necessarily affect the player, they affect the time. And while the time is intrinsically tied to the player, I don't think that it warrants it enough to where I don't think it's like involved enough to where it would be connected to the player group that it has. Oh yeah, I added some decorations around that are also randomized. You got like a cool puddle, you got some dust, you got skeleton, and yeah, I could say that this is a successful project. I'd say. Everything looks good, it plays good, sounds good. I animated like a lot of things too. I even animated the player sprite. Give it that extra flair. I'm not entirely sure. I'm never sure how to end these, so I'm just gonna say bye. And if you are still listening, then thank you for listening. I appreciate your time and the want to see how this project went from being just a simple project in my head to being an actual full fleshed out prototype that I have just sitting around on my computer now. Oh, and I also uploaded it to the Construct Arcade, so you can play it too, which is pretty neat. Anyway, thank you, and goodbye.
Can you please stop stabbing me in the throat? For 5 minutes?
So what did I learn? I learned a lot. I learned how to organize my thoughts and actually put them into action. I actually learned how to prototype. I kind of just fooled around and I just made something. It was honestly really easy. It was shockingly easy, actually, considering how difficult game development was in the past. Like I would develop the last time I developed a game like this. It was Move, Shoot, Survive, and I was following a tutorial the entire time, and that wasn't really the most helpful. Like I had a lot of fun, and I got to put my own little spin on it. I added that Caleb flavor, but I never really like learned anything, and I never really developed more with Game Maker Studio 2. And I don't know if I want to go back. I really like Construct 3's interface. I like how everything seems to work just without a hitch, you know? And if something does end up going wrong, I can figure it out. It's simple enough to where I can figure it out. And like, it's really good for just getting a game out there, because I've had so many game ideas in my brain for so long that I was amazed at how easy I could pump this out. And I made a devlog while doing it too. Like, it gave me enough time to work on individual things that don't necessarily pertain to the actual game itself. It's just logging my activity. And I did that. I'm pretty proud of myself. because I don't normally do this. But, I mean, if anything, it's just pretty motivational and inspirational. This isn't going to be the only game that I'm going to be making, too. Like, I'm definitely going to be making another game. I have another game in mind. But that's a story for another day. For now, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to go have a breath of fresh air. I'm probably going to eat something. It's been a good process. It's been pretty easy, pretty painless. And I'm really thinking about purchasing a year subscription on Construct 3. I'm really thinking about it, because it would be worth it. I feel like it'd be worth it. It's pretty much worth it. For an entire year, $143 is not a big deal. I could totally do that. But, I mean, if you watched all of these in rapid succession, then thank you. Thank you for watching, first of all. And thank you for dealing with my my nervous ramblings, because I'm not a content creator by any means, so I don't know the ins and outs of making videos and how to structure them properly and actually get people to watch them, but I don't really care. So if you're here, regardless, thank you for watching, and thank you for dealing with me, and thank you for being here, just in general. I'm glad I interested you enough to watch these videos and actually make it to this point. Hopefully I'll make more. They're definitely gonna make more. I don't know if I'm gonna do a devlog like this, but if I get a really good game idea and I actually wanna log my process and do all that, like, I definitely will, because this was super easy, super simple. And if this is any incentive to move into getting a game design, a game project done for yourself, then you should, because it's really satisfying. I like it. It's fun. Okay, bye.